Hello mortals. I don't know about you, but player housing has me farming currencies I haven't even thought about for a long time, which has made me realize I need to know the best farming techniques because there is a lot to buy. So this is the first video in a series about the currencies you need for player housing and the best way to farm those. And with the midnight pre-patch on its way, we'll be leaving the War Within soon. So before we do, I want to just make sure everyone's had a chance to buy all the decor they want from this expansion, which mostly just means you're going to need resonance crystals, and a lot of them. The bane of my existence. I've never felt like I have enough. Even before all this decor was introduced, that suddenly means I need so much more. World quests tend to reward 8, maybe 18 at the most, and you need thousands. Seriously, 1,200 crystals for a small stack of books? That's like 150 world quests. There has to be a better way. Thankfully, there is. Well, there are a few better ways. First things first, unlocking the War Within. If you've never played through this expansion before on any character, you're not going to be able to do most of the things on this list. If you have done this before, then this next bit is not for you. Feel free to skip ahead. I've included chapter headings to make that easy. Unlocking world quests in Khazar requires playing through the Level Up campaign at least once on your account, and this trend tends to be pretty much true of everything else. Blizzard has introduced a new way to point players to the story. The War Within recap begins with the Tome of History next to Lorewalker Cho in Stormwind, Valdrakken or Donegal. It's a good idea. From what people have said, it's also currently very broken. Right now, you should be able to start the War Within campaign from your adventure journal. This might be the best way to go about it, just until the recap is less buggy. Either way, generally speaking, you'll want to follow quests that have a little shield around them. Your quest log should help you figure out which quests you need to do. The War Within is obviously the War Within campaign that unlocks most things from the base zones. Undermine unlocks Undermine related stuff. The Knife's Edge unlocks Koresh. And Ecological Succession is, unfortunately, what you need to do to unlock the Ecological Succession world quest and related dailies. Thankfully, you don't have to entirely complete that storyline to get the world quest, but you do have to do the B quests, and I'm so sorry. You'll see what I mean when you get to them. Unlocks are also warband wide, so you only have to do any of this once on your account. Hopefully, Blizzard will open up things like world quests and meta quests for everyone once Midnight is the main expansion, but I don't think they've even done that for Dragonflight yet, so we'll have to see. Just a tip from a veteran player who has played through almost every questline in the game, usually multiple times. It actually goes by faster if you stop worrying about rushing through it and pay attention to the story. Genuinely, it's boring otherwise. I recently was reminded of this in Remix. I played through every order hall and loved it because I was reliving the story. Then I rushed through a few order halls again on characters I just wanted to level. Pure torture. The whole reason why I advocate being allowed to skip entire questlines on alts. So if you do have to play through story for the very first time on your account, my advice is don't look at it like it's a chore, because then that's exactly what it will be. Enjoying the journey is just so much more fun. But okay, now you've done that, or you did it long ago. You're here for the resonance crystals. So now what? The very first thing you want to look out for if you're farming resonance crystals is any blue quest in Donegal that rewards a Pinnacle cache if you're level 80, or an Algari Adventurer's cache if you're level 70 to 79. The quests rewarding these will be offered by Farron Lothar, Bran Bronzebeard, or until you finish the Archives questline, Speaker Brinth. It cannot be overemphasized how valuable these caches are. They reliably contain 450 kedge, 900 resonance crystals, and throughout the War Within have also rewarded at least 1,000 gold. I say at least because it has been possible, though rare, to get lucky and get over 10,000 gold. That said, the gold rewards will likely be nerfed for Midnight. If that doesn't come with the pre-patch itself, it's still something that tends to happen shortly after. Still, the Kedge and Resonance Crystal rewards should remain the same. There's really no reason to nerf those. So if you're after a war within Decor that costs these resources specifically, then your first stop should always be these caches. Farron's quest, the Call of the World Soul, provides you with a range of options to choose from in order to complete the quest. You'll want to choose the option that's the easiest or fits in best with whatever else you're doing. Brand's quest, Delves Worldwide Research, requires you to complete 3 delves. The delves don't need to be bountiful or any particular level, so you can just rush through a quick tier 1 delve like Fungal Folly or Side Street Sluice 3 times if you like. Since the delve option from the Call of the World Soul quest only requires you to complete 1 delve on any difficulty, it's a good choice if you're able to do both these quests together. This combination alone guarantees an easy 1,800 resonance crystals per character, a pretty decent amount to be able to rely on. I say if you're able to do these quests together. I'll be honest, up until recently I thought all these quests were weeklies, but they're apparently on a 3-week rotation and also stay up for that time as well. So if you haven't been doing any of these quests on an alt and then you go check now, there's a good chance both of the quests will be up. But if you do them both, then after the reset, only one of the quests will be available. So you might want to take an easygoing approach and only bother to log into any alt you're using to farm crystals every 2nd or 3rd week. But also, Blizzard has a habit of changing cooldown times like this, so it's possible this information is already outdated. I mentioned Speaker Brinth. She offers archive quests which reward a 3rd possible Pinnacle cache, but only to max level characters and only until her archives questline has ended. There are 5 in all per character, but I believe these are weekly, so you should get a new one after every weekly reset. The archive quests each require farming 100 Titan discs. Treasures drop 1 disc. They're a lot easier to see if you have outline mode on. Rare elites drop 10. Dungeon bosses drop 15, including follower dungeons. So one quick way to farm the discs is to just keep queuing for a dungeon with an early first boss like the Stone Vault and leaving after killing them. World bosses drop 50 discs, but only if you're not in a raid group. So you have to be able to solo them or else get lucky with 5-man groups or with other groups being up in your realm. Ghosts of Koresh introduced a new similar reward, the Wriggling Pinnacle cache. It also guarantees 450 cache and 900 resonance crystals per cache. This is from the Ecological Succession World Quest, which thankfully is weekly. You will need to have unlocked and played through Koresh at least once on your account to access this, and it will only be available for level 80 characters. Before the portal to Koresh will open for your alts, you first need to accept the quest A Shadowy Invitation from Alaria in Dornagal. You will be able to skip ahead in the campaign once you reach the Veiled Market, which allows you to obtain your Rishi wraps, which are a requirement for interacting with the zone. If you get the weird bug where they don't give you the wraps at first, just ask for another one. There are several ways you can complete this weekly. Fishing rewards 1%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it does mean you can just sit and complete the quest with 100 casts. There's a fishing trainer at the Ecodome as well, so if your alt doesn't have fishing yet, you can easily remedy that. Leveling dirt, interacting with robots, and watering plants rewards 3% each. If you really want to speed things up, completing blue quests and killing the world boss Starbs rewards 20%. As I said, the caches I talk about in the first section are the best way to get resonance crystals, but there are a few other options. First of all, since there is only one decoration item that costs Kedge, the Kaheti Scribe's Records, you'll probably want to trade in most of your Kedge for resonance crystals. Kamuko in Azkahet sells items that allows you to do this. You need 2,000 Kedge for 1,000 crystals. Your Warband's first Radiant Service Satchel every week rewards 900 resonance crystals. This goes down to 300 crystals for subsequent satchels, and unlike similar rewards, this one also doesn't include gold or Kedge. It is rewarded for completing the Nightfall Weekly in Hallowfall, The Flame Burns Eternal, which requires completing a Nightfall event, which occur every hour on the hour. You can earn quite a lot of resonance crystals through dragon riding races, but it's a one-time thing. Basically, the first time any character hits a racing milestone in Khazal-Gar, they're rewarded some crystals, but only the first time. This won't work on characters who have already achieved these milestones on races. The add-on Dragon Rider can help quickly visualize whether or not you've completed this race before, and what score you've achieved. You'll want to aim for gold in every race, as this will also reward the crystals from the previous tier. Thanks to the changes to dragon riding, achieving gold in a race has never been easier. This works out to 95 crystals each for basic and reversed, and 155 crystals each with advanced. So a total of 345 crystals per race. There are 6 races in every zone, so that means you can earn 2,070 crystals per zone, or a total of 8,280 resonance crystals per character that's level 70 and above. And since new characters should be able to level through the wall within once the new expansion is live, this should mean that from midnight on you'll be able to do this on any character that's level 10 and above. There are other ways to earn smaller chunks of resonance crystals as well. Crystals drop from the Awakening the Machine event in the Ringing Deeps, but I find the amount to be pretty unreliable. Plus, then you have to do the Awakening the Machine event, and why would I inflict that on you? Completing the quests that unlock after you activate the larger keyflames in Halafor reward 200 crystals each. But this honestly hardly seems worth the effort to me. Renowned chests with Khazalgar factions, the ones you get for every 7,500 reputation after maxing out your renown with them, reward 1,500 crystals. I don't necessarily recommend trying to farm these, but they should come naturally with other activities. That said, if you do want to farm reputation, your warband's first completion of the quest associated with every zone's major activity, like the theatre event in Dornagol, rewards 1,000 reputation with the associated faction, and there is a weekly quest in Dornagol that rewards 1,500 reputation with the faction of your choice. This one just requires running a dungeon and follow a dungeon's count. Oh, and I'm not sure if this is a bug, but I've noticed that even though reputation is warband wide, only the character who pushes the reputation over the edge to reward a paragon cache is able to claim it. So make sure to check your ults for unclaimed caches. As I said, Kedge is the currency for only one Decor item, but it can also be used to exchange for resonance crystals, so you may consider it worth the farm for that alone. Apart from the caches that I mentioned before, the main thing you should know about Kedge is that it's always important to choose a pact in Az-Kahet, even if you don't intend to complete the weekly. Because if you're not farming reputation with a particular pact, you'll always want to choose the Vizier. As the world buff, Vizier's Supremacy benefit rewards 20% extra Kedge from all sources. And yes, this includes the Kedge you get from Pinnacle caches, raising the amount to 540 Kedge per cache. Completing the Az-Kahet weekly also rewards Kedge, but not so much that I would consider it worth your time. Tell me, did the bee quests in Koresh leave you with a strange feeling of animosity towards bees? Good news, everyone! There's a new reason to kill as many of them as possible again. Sizzling Cinderpollen, previously a currency that was only required to purchase one mount, now can also be used to purchase a decorative cinder honeypot. You need 75. The currency has a chance to drop from the elite mobs in Cinderwald, so you may want to farm this one in a group. Now, there is one more bit of war within currency I need to mention: goldfish. 15 are needed to purchase the rusty patchwork tub in Undermine, and there is pretty much only one way to farm these: fishing in Undermine. If you don't already have the Find Fish spell that shows you fishing pools, you can learn it from the Angler's Guide, which is sold by War Within fishing trainers. You'll want to look for steam weedle runoff pools and fish from them. They can also be fished up in open water, but the drop rate is higher in those pools. But if you want to spend them, you first need to unlock the Blair Bass vendor. This requires doing the entire Undermine campaign, and then most of the follow-up side quest line Hardways at the Galadriel, but only once on your warband. And you know, Undermine is the best, so I'm sure you'll love it. And that's all for now. I had an entire section about farming gold as well, but then I realized that whole farm is probably going to change pretty soon as well if we get the standard gold nerfs as part of the Midnight pre-patch. So I'll address that another time. But I figured it's the other currency that's important anyway. Do you know of any good techniques for farming this War Within currency that I missed? Let me know in the comments below. You can also like, subscribe, share, you know, all the good YouTube stuff. A big shout out to my patrons whose names you can see now. Finally, you can find me streaming both here and on Twitch. So, well, that's all for now. Hopefully, I will see you again soon.